The cold had settled and the night had closed in, but a cosy fire and blankets waited therein. Tramping up to the door, the snow thick under boot, was a golden-haired girl at the end of her route. Galadriel was her name, and she came from afar to stay at the inn, though this one had no bar. An Airbnb is what she could afford, and this one seemed decent, the star reviews above 4. She approached the key safe to the right of the door, searched her phone for the code, for she was unsure. But when approaching the latch, a terrible fright, for inside the box no key was in sight. Through the window a lamp switched on in the dim, and the shadow of a man was moving within. She double-checked her booking, yes, the right date and time. So who was this stranger already inside? Perplexed, she waited, unsure what to do, until eventually she knocked, having nothing to lose. The porch light turned on and the shadow approached. Galadriel swallowed the lump in her throat. When finally the door opened, oh, how her mouth dropped, for the man in the doorway was really quite hot. His figure was tall, silhouetted by light, but his eyes gleamed like marbles, jade-tinted and bright. His hair fell about his shoulders in waves of chestnut brown, a question on his lips and an arch in his brow. "Can I help you?" he asked, as his gaze took her in, their eyes locking for a moment as she looked back at him. "I'm sorry," she said, "but there's been a mistake. I'm meant to be in here. Do you have the right date?" "I believe so," he said, blinking at her. "My booking is clearly the 23rd of December." "But so is mine," she countered. "I have it right here." And she held up her phone, almost in tears. The journey'd been long and the hour was late. It could take hours to find somewhere else at this rate. The cottage was secluded, nowhere else for miles. She was exhausted and certainly in no mood for such trials. In her shimmering eyes the man found himself rapt, a beauty so pure he couldn't help but stare at. "Don't cry," he soothed. "We can phone about. Get warm at least, while we figure this out." Wiping her nose with her sleeve, she smiled at him. He made room and gestured for her to come in. The fire was roaring, warmth prickling her skin. "I'm Halbrand," he said, as she turned to face him. "Galadriel," she nodded, looking him over once more. But as he stared back, her eyes fell to the floor. Too intense was his gaze, and it caused her to shiver, but pleasantly so, a warmth pooling within her. "Hot chocolate?" he asked, and she accepted with glee as she took off her coat and sat down gingerly. "Don't worry," he said. "I'm not going to bite. We'll see how I fare by the end of the night." Her reply gave him pause. She was quick with her wit, and a curious curl tugged at his lip. Disappearing to the kitchen to fix her the drink, her smile clung to his thoughts, a permanent imprint. He returned with 2 mugs topped with marshmallows and cream. For a moment he swore he'd strayed into a dream, for when she reached for her cup, their fingers did meet. A glancing touch, he'd never known one so sweet. "Shall we see what's gone wrong?" She could hardly be cuter, and suddenly her words brought him out of his stupor. "Of course," he smiled, sitting himself down, leaning in so they could compare bookings now. Her perfume smelt subtly of daisies and pine, and he'd never seen hair that glittered so fine. And if they were unable to sort out this mess, it would be no real hardship, he had to confess. Try as they might to get hold of the owner, it was just their lot that a pylon blew over, and even if they wanted they could not now escape. The snow came down heavy in a blanket of fate. "There's nothing else for it," he proclaimed with a wink. "Childhood stories. I'll go first. Give you time to think." And so he regaled her of time spent with his dad, building soapbox cars in summer, but then he grew sad. "What's wrong?" she asked, her eyes full of pity. "Nothing," he replied. "He just lives in the city." "I take it it's been a while since he's seen you." "It has," he admitted. "But let's lighten the mood. What of you, fair lady? You must have a tale. My attention once given never does fail." Her mind put at ease, his confidence was calming. It was not hard to admit he was really quite charming. And so she recalled her childhood long past, of paper boats and meadows, the night waning fast. This did go on for many hours still yet, edging closer on the sofa until their eyes met. The laughter they shared had come to a stop. All of a sudden, they both felt the room was too hot. Leaning in closer, his gaze dropped to her lips, and over her neck strayed his fingertips. At that her breath quickened, her pulse set alight, soft chills down her spine, much to her delight. Time itself stretched as they both held their breath, eyes searching each other for the soul in their depths. The world seemed to hum, till one finally spoke, though the spell they were under was far from being broke. "I'll take the couch. The bed is all yours." Halbrand's words were stilted, more awkward than before. But Galadriel's had tilted, a gleam in her eye, for she had a different thought in mind. "I have an idea," Galadriel teased, "but if it's not what you want, there's no need to appease. The bed overnight, why don't we share?" For a moment, all Halbrand could do was stare. But not for too long, for in the next moment his lips were on hers, to resist it was torment. Their kiss was impassioned, his hands through her hair, and she lifted his shirt to reveal under there. Off to the bedroom the two of them stumbled, with buttons and zippers hurried fingertips fumbled. And though in this story there is certainly more, I'm afraid we'll never know, for they closed the door. But in the years to come, they'll look back on this night, gathering their children and snuggling tight. When asked how Mummy and Daddy once met, they'll toast to double bookings at Christmas. We owe them a debt.